And as we look forward to yet another exciting session, our panel discussion up next will be talking about AI versus reality. What really is the reality for LLMs in India? How is it that Indian enterprises are leveraging LLMs to enhance efficiency? And what are the specific industry use cases demonstrating significant and telling us more about return on investment? Well, dive into how is it that Indian organizations today are fostering innovation and concerning linguistic diversity and data availability through collaboration. Please do put your hands together as I have the pleasure of welcoming Ms. Anushree Saxena, AI Solutions Specialist at Dell Technologies. A round of applause as she steps forward. May I present to you Mr. Bhavesh Chauhan, Vice President, Emerging Technology at Galaxy Office Automation. May I also welcome Mr. Tanuj Bhojwani, Head of People plus AI at Desk Foundation. I'd like to request all of you to please welcome Mr. Bhojwani here from Step Foundation. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Vikas Diwvedi, Global Transformation Lead, Automation and AI at Ericsson. And to moderate this segment, may I please welcome Mr. Seshadri-Partner, Digital Technologies at KPMG right here in India. Let me welcome our panelists, and after this segment, we would love for you all to be all set. We are going to have one more panel discussion right after this one. All yours.
You want to use Ram?
Yeah, got it. Okay, I think that was not AI supporting me at that point in time. So it's a pleasure to be amongst you discussing some of the important topics around AI and Gen AI and LLMs. What we have is a set of panelists who've done some cutting-edge work in their own industries, in their own companies, in trying to figure out how AI, Gen AI, LLMs can really add value to business, can derive return on investment in terms of some of the investments that they have made in making this as a real-life use case. So welcome on board, team. So look forward to our engaging discussion over the next 25-30 minutes that we have. The first question obviously was in terms of what are the type of innovative use cases that as industry practitioners we have put in place. I'll start off with some of the examples that at KPMG we've done. We have a joke that goes around saying that nowadays most of our lives are controlled by bots within our computer systems, be it a HR bot or a customer service bot, etc. So we've done a lot of work in terms of putting together different sets of use cases, be it for HR, be it for sales, be it for customer service related queries. Obviously, we had our own set of challenges in terms of making sure that we get all the necessary approvals in place to be able to even first place access ChatGPT and OpenAI. But I think we are behind all of that. That's behind all of us. Right now, we are really forging ahead in terms of looking at how do we do more and more with AI, and obviously making sure that at the end of the day there is a significant amount of human interaction intervention which goes in and use AI or Gen AI more as an enabler rather than a standalone piece of work, right? So that's a quick background in terms of how we are using. But to the panelists, the first question would be around, what are the type of use cases that you've, within your industry, within your company that you have put together, and what are the challenges that you face in making sure that you're able to, get it out of the door, get it into production, get into the hands of your customer or your employees. So I'll start from you.
Yeah, hi. So this is Nishant Pradhan. So I'm the Chief AI Officer of Mirae Asset. So I think folks would know Mirae Asset is a mutual fund, but we are globally an asset manager. And thanks, Ram. So this topic is very interesting, LLMs, and the reason is, so I come from this firm where we do investment management. So we look at themes, and so I'll talk about a use case around themes and thematic research. And and I will also like touch upon why this is important for everyone, because we are all looking for themes, whether you're in media, you're in, everyone is looking at themes, and we are looking at themes from a thematic investment point of view. And why themes? Why themes are important today is because, gone are the days where you used to look at, segment-wise or, industry-wise analysis, or the days when you used to do fundamental analysis, technical analysis. We have seen like firms emerging around themes, like for example, Spotify. People will feel that Spotify is in the industry of music, but like if you dig deeper, the reason they make money is because of personalization, as a theme where they have few hundred people and, they cater to $1 billion, they cater to 1 billion users, and it's because of a platform that they have. If you look at Amazon, like as an example, we would think of it as a e-commerce firm, but they make their revenues from cloud. So people are not aware of, what are the themes which are emerging, what are the themes which are going to emerge, and how your Gen AI or LLM can help you here. Now, how they can help you here is the data was always there. We had annual reports of 50,000 stocks, lying on the SEC website. We have, the public data it was always there. Like what we lacked was the capability to interpret the data. We had few analysts, we had few folks in equity research going through annual reports, figuring it out. Now, what is possible today, with the help of LLM is to be able to go through, these documents, and these documents keep coming. Like you have like every day, there could be a new, so there could be a press release, there could be an investor presentation. And so we are able to, come out with like new features, like a sentiment score, which we can add into our quant models. We are able to identify themes emerging in the market. We are able to identify firms which are making revenues from a particular theme. So all this was not possible. So this is a use case where firms are working globally, and there is a lot of opportunity in India as well. The India mutual fund industry also, has this opportunity in front of them. But this is the theme that we are working on, and there are challenges. The challenges are with respect to vendors, because see, with AI it is not like tech where you can give the work to a vendor and you can get it done in 6 months. AI is all about your IP. When we do thematic research, there's a lot of domain knowledge that goes into training your LLM, and as sir, he spoke about vertical LLMs and small LLMs. So there's a lot of domain intelligence which goes, and say working with a vendor, there is a risk of IP leakage. There is a risk of your business crucial information moving to your competitors and other stakeholders. And hence, I think it is important for every firm to invest in AI. It's also important, to have that organization in place. And I'm very fortunate, to be playing the role. Probably I'm the only one who is a chief AI officer in this event, and thankful, for being called for the event.
Yeah, thanks, Arun, for that. Just a quick question. So what's the next best recommendation on a mutual fund that's coming from your LLM? If you can share with us that'll be great. Jokes aside. Anushree, over to you.
Sure. Hi, folks. So I'm from Dell Technologies, right? So when we talk about use cases, typically we bucket it under 2 buckets, right? I work a lot with customers and across all the industries, whether it's like BFSI, conglomerates and such, right? So one bucket of use cases typically that I see is in the external use cases any organization is developing. Kind of the user will be your customer. The other bucket that I'm seeing is internal use cases, right? So your users will be your employees, right? So a company like Dell, we kind of have done both when it comes to LLM, particularly. So our own IT team, they went through this exercise about 2 years back, where they looked at more than 200 use cases internally, right? We are a more than 100,000 employee company, global company. So our leadership said like, hey, why don't we adopt LLMs and Gen AI ourselves first, right? So we looked at more than 200 use cases across like HR, your finance, legal, you name it, right? Sales and marketing. We shortlisted using some, sort of criteria around what's the business value impact, what's the technical feasibility. We shortlisted roughly about half a dozen of those use cases, and today they are running in production, right? So, and those are being used by the 100,000 employees at Dell. So any new hire that we have, the HR and onboarding, for example, there's a lot of AI element plugged into it. The voice that does the virtual onboarding is AI. The content which gets generated is using a lot of prompt engineering, right? If you go onto Dell.com, we have a chat bot there which utilizes the LLMs. So a lot of work our own IT team has done. And we call it like drinking our own champagne, before we kind of go out to the customer. So that's one bucket. The other bucket, of course, we work across various industries. And depending on the industry, we help the customers develop the end-to-end use cases through our own consulting arm, which is called the professional services arm, essentially. So if you talk in BFSI, there are specific use cases. You talk in insurance industry, there'll be others, right? But one example I think I can give, which is quite state-of-the-art, is around the digital assistant, right? And this is an evolution almost from your chat bots and the voice bots. And this is an AI avatar-based digital assistant. This is something our professional services team has also developed in partnership with some of the other people like Unique and Pyron and others. So the idea there is essentially, you have a human twin almost, like a human-based, assistant to give you those human kind of behaviors, expressions, and things like that. And if you, Google it, we have a success story. It's a US one, but similar things are getting applied into India as well. It's called the City of Amarillo success story, right? Where they're using a digital human for government-assisted services, essentially. And the beauty is this is multilingual, so it can do 70 or plus languages. And then, you almost get somebody who looks like you, feels like you, talks to you. So that's one of the use cases we are seeing getting adopted quite quickly. And on the challenges part, right? So I was a startup founder myself. I come from technical background, so I'll give you a challenge more technical. Right? The biggest challenge I think we are seeing as AI is sort of scaling and going into production is around data hallucination, right? Because when it comes to LLMs, the problem is if your data is corrupted, if your data is not correct, the data is learning continuously in the case of LLMs. So if it learns on the wrong data, essentially, your entire thing starts hallucinating. And your quality of questions start coming, your quality of answers start coming into question. Your ethics of your answers will start coming into question. So there's tons of work we do around data architectures, data pipelines to ensure that this kind of challenge basically doesn't come up, right? So that's my point of view.
Thanks, Anushree. Bhavesh?
Yeah, thanks, Ram. So I am from Galaxy, and as the topic is on the use cases, you must have all heard about a lot of discussions going on chatbots, right? So I'm not going to repeat that self, but as a partner firm, we talk to lots and lots of customers across various domains, across various industries. In our solution booth also, if you see, we have demonstrated use cases which are driven by ROI, because you must have seen a lot of customers are talking about implementing AI, Gen AI solutions, but what we believe that unless and until you are getting an ROI of those use cases, it may not be fruitful for you. So some of the common use cases which are surrounded around the customer services, which requires a smart IT assist or search AI, or maybe employee virtual assistants. These are the common use cases which customers have seen clear-cut ROI, and those have been implemented across industries. And being a partner firm, we are fortunate to work with customers across domains. So if I have to name few use cases from the banking domain as well, the fraud detection when it comes to credit cards or loan management, if I have a customer's base, all this data is there. But how do I make meaningful data out of my customer data, which I have, that who customer has taken how much loan, what are the age criteria of those customers, whether he will pay the loan, whether he'll be defaulter of those loans, and similarly for the credit card as well, right? So these are the use cases from the banking domain which we have seen very, picking up very fast, apart from the normal chatbot, digital assistants, and KYCs. When it comes to healthcare, we have worked with very healthcare industries, and the use cases what they have implemented to begin with is how they can record the patient's data, which they already have. So the patient diagnostics, then they're doing the drug discoveries. So these are the 2-3 use cases from healthcare industries which customers are talking to us and how we can help them out. Talking to manufacturing industries, we have customers base where we are talking about the smart supply chain management, or workers health safety, because a lot of workers are doing a lot of manufacturing, so they wanted to ensure the workers health safety is utmost important to them. Obviously predictive maintenance of their devices, so they don't afford downtime of a minute or a 2 minute, because that is a huge production loss for them. So how they can effectively ensure that the predictive maintenance of their devices are in place. And obviously from the healthcare I have spoken about. So these are all the various use cases which we have seen with the customer, which can deliver the ROI. And few of the use cases which I have mentioned are already showcased in our booth. I'll welcome all of you to please be at the booth and see these use cases working live. And when it comes to the the challenges, or I would say the friction of adopting AI or Gen AI solution are multiples, right? First and foremost, most of the customers I've seen who are the early adopters of AI, they have gone by using the open source LLMs, but they have not realized that open source LLMs comes with not a small database, right? They have huge database of LLMs. If you just use those LLMs in your environment, you may end up buying lots and lots of GPU powers, which may not be relevant to you. So there are LLMs which are curated, and you can use those LLMs in your environment. Second thing is LLM integrations with your existing systems. That is very important, because sometimes people just use the LLMs, but they don't know how to integrate with their existing infrastructure. And then there is a half-cooked solution, and then they have to make sure that either it is working well or it is not working well. And thereby you have to ensure that the LLM is rightly integrated with your existing tools, because unless and until it is not integrated with your existing infrastructure, maybe your payment systems, or maybe your Salesforce, your HRMS, you will not get end-to-end automations and operational efficiencies, right? And third and most important challenges of adopting LLM is a skill. Right? I have seen customers are not adopting LLM because of the skill set issues. They may not have the right skills to implement or fine tune or curate those LLMs, and thereby partner like us who are specialized and having skills across the infrastructure, and also we are building skills and having skills on the AI, which can help you to ensure that, right from defining the use cases to implementing, adopting the use cases by doing the right model, curated model, and ensure that is going from inferencing stage to testing stage to production environment, right? So these are the use cases as well as challenges which I wanted to highlight from my side.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that, Bhavesh. I'm just going to go slightly off script and put you on the spot. You talked about multiple different use cases, right? And also said that there is definitely ROI. What are the type of KPIs that you track when you say there is an ROI for a particular use case? Is it like reduction in effort or increase in sales? What type of ROI have you seen?
Yeah, so when I mention ROI, there are multiple business drivers related to those use cases, right? So what we do in part of that assessment workshop which we do, we clearly understand from the CXOs or the business owners that what are the ROI they are looking out for. One of the ROI which I foresee is obviously faster GTM, right? And reduction of the operational cost, or making sure that the automation helps them to reduce the time and effort which has been taken over there. So there are various parameters we take care of that, and basis on those parameters we ensure that if I am able to deliver this solution in a matter which was taking hours or maybe months, if I can reduce to days or weeks, right, that will help you to make the product much faster or better customer experiences. So these are all the things from
Thanks for this. Tanuj, over to you.
Hi, so my name is Tanuj Bhojwani. I run an organization called People Plus AI. This is essentially funded by Nandan and Rohini Nilikini. This is their philanthropic arm. I myself used to work on the India stack. I started working on UPI. That was the first project I worked on. But you must have heard of the Aadhaar, UPI, eKYC, DigiLocker, DigiYatra, and a bunch of other things where we've played a role in architecting and deploying the solutions. So my Gen AI use cases are a little different. They're a little more, pro-social. They're a little more about societal good. And the ROI, therefore, is measured a little differently, right? Like, we're not talking about revenues, we're talking about outcomes. We actually got into the AI game by funding AI for Bharat in 2020. 2019, we started the language project. In 2020, 2021, the AI for Bharat Center, IIT Madras, which recently released 22, like the leading ASR, automated speech recognition in Indian languages. In fact, that was the use case we started with, translation. The Supreme Court reached out to Nandan and said, we have a problem. Every time a high court case from a state comes to the Supreme Court, the documents have to be translated. And one very good way to get your case stalled is to submit 1 million documents in a language that the Supreme Court does not operate in, right? So if in Maharashtra, in the High Court of Bombay, you submit Marathi documents, all pointless, but the case will not even proceed till it's translated. So we created an open source system called Anuvad, which is being used elsewhere, which led to Bhashini, which has been now used in a bunch of places. The PM gave this speech at Red Fort, translated live. That was part of the tech that we invested in and made available. A lot of language use cases, therefore. So one of the things that we are doing now is going away from chatbots, like you're saying, and getting into the idea that, look, in a chatbot, you go ask, and you say, what is this, how is that, tell me this, right? But when you look at the Indian context, is the AI needs to reach you, right, rather than you reaching an AI. So we got this use case from a government, state government, I can't tell you which one right now, but their main problem was there's this Jal mission. You have to give everybody water, clean connection to water that we all take for granted. Now, if the state also has to give everybody water, the first question is who has water, who doesn't have water. So now you have to do a massive survey. You have to go out and check, आपके घर में पानी है, क्या पानी, मतलब नल है, नल में पानी है, like do you have a tap, do you have water, is the water clean, does it smell, does it stink, right, or is it off color, right? Now we are using AI to do that. Pinpoint locations, ask further questions, when's the last time you had water, and very sort of this thing, and we've done it at like 3 rupees a minute, right? That's the cost we delivered it this at. And the project that would have taken about a year to just start, how do we start giving water, whom do we give it to? We're starting them off in like less than 3 months, right, because of this. We also have use cases around regulations that we are doing right now, which are very interesting, which is, there is a standard called Griha, which is about your green building standards, right? So if you build a hotel like this, if you build it and design it well, you don't need the AC to be blasted at this much, saving energy, climate cost cutting. But the certification to be green building certified, which you require for ESG and credits, just takes very long. So we went to the regulator and said, sir, everything you do, we think we can do with AI. So they've given us their data sets to make AI which does that, measure site plans, etc. We're doing one on locations called Sthan, which is basically, in Bombay also still there are some street addresses are named. But most of India, your streets are not named, addresses are not named, etc. So we're seeing how AI can be used to locate you. So every time you call a Swiggy person and they call and ask you directions, can an AI bot answer on your behalf, right, and getting people there. So we're doing more of these societal use cases, some of them not deployed, some of them are deployed at large scale, like Anuvad for the Supreme Courts, Vistar for farmers, like a farmer chatbot. These are all deployed. That's it.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that time. And really interesting set of use cases compared to, yeah, I can see the response. Interesting set of use cases. So Vikas, no pressure on you, but please do let us know what type of use cases you guys are using and what's the type of challenges that you've been facing organizationally to get that into the hands of people.
Sure, thanks Ram. And I'm from Ericsson, so we are taking Digit AI more from the global perspective, where we are running our operations across 180 countries and connecting people across the globe through our technologies. And being cognizant of the time, though we are doing a lot of experiments with the fancy ideas as well around Gen AI and LLMs. However, since we have limited time, so I'll straight away go to the 3 top use cases where we see that, yes, ROI can be generated in near future. So the first one is, I think, similar to some of you spoke around information search, intelligent information search, basically information retrieval and search function. And the second one is the coding assistant or the coding buddy for our R&D purposes so that we can bring out innovations quite rapidly. And then the third one is AI assistant, intelligent assistant. And then there is a difference between this intelligent search and intelligent assistant. So then AI agent come into picture with the assistants. And with the first two, we are already seeing that, okay, there's some returns are coming in terms of efficiency gains and in terms of business value. And yeah, so then when we come and when we are looking at these use cases, we are not looking at, say, for example, when we talk about coding buddy. So it's not that, okay, someone will create code for us. We are very much looking for human AI collaboration for that. So something like an inline AI coding assistant or inline text creation as well when we are looking at the text creation cases. And then, of course, there are multiple challenges that maybe many of us would have seen. If I just try to summarize some of the top 4, 5. So the first one, of course, is when we are using LLMs is around the information and the data privacy part, information security and data privacy, where we look at the data leakage. And when we look at the data leakage, we also see that, okay, data leakage to third parties as well as internally as well, because we are operating across the globe. So then there are different regulations in each geography, right? And then the second one is about when we talk about all these transparency part of LLM. So how do we create those ethical responses when we are using an enterprise LLM layer with that? And yeah, so then, and then of course, we are working in a changing regulatory environment. And since we work across the globe, so then we need to see those regulations as well. And when we are putting investments into LLMs and significant investments, whether some of the new regulations will impact that may be upcoming. So that's another, so that's not a challenge, that's a concern that we sort of prioritize our use cases in the similar manner. So this looks a little boring to the audience because it's not that fancy that we are creating avatars or say basically you live in an AI world, but this is what we are seeing on ground. This will create ROI in near future. That's how we look at it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for that. I know we're almost running out of time, but there's one question that I want to pose to all of you. And this is about innovation in an Indian context. If you see most of the LLMs that's been generated, right, it's all been discovered, innovated out in the Western world, right? And of course, most of it by Desis sitting out there, like for example, Arvind Srinivas, the Perplexity CEO. But given the diversity of India, the language diversity, the cultural diversity, as well as the general requirements of India as a society, right? What do you think are the type of innovations that you are seeing or in and around you from an Indian context in this particular space of LLMs and Gen AI?
Yeah, I'll take this first, though, I mean, it is not related to the financial services, but yes. So as I said initially, the real power of LLM is being able to interpret. And, I take this example that, see, if you see any paragraph, if I read it, you read it, he reads it, we interpret it differently. And if I read it second time, I will interpret it more differently. Now with languages, see, the power here is, like, I may not need to learn, some 10 languages, but I can go and understand the essence, the culture behind a lot of documents and material which is out there, which earlier was not possible. So using LLMs, if they are trained on, material, books, and on, say, different languages, I will be able to, understand, appreciate, and we will be able to connect to our customers. So maybe in the fields like, banking and, retail, you'll be able to connect with customers because you will understand, like, where they are coming from.
Yeah, thanks.
I think our time is up, but I'll try to just give a short response. So when we look at Indian context, right, there are a couple of things which are happening. One is multimodal LLMs, right? So people are so diverse. Some prefer text, others prefer voice, others are preferring digital assistant, like that's an AI avatar. We have a lot of young population, right? So all those multimodality has to exist. Second thing which is happening is around, we have a lot of edge endpoint devices out there, right? So a lot of synchronization between what's happening at the edge, what's happening in the data center. How do you kind of make sure that works in synchrony, that's interoperable? That's what's happening in the industry as far as AI and India is related. And the last thing I think what's happening is the ecosystem, which is getting developed in India, because no one, company can do it all. There are so many components to getting the final product out. So one example I can give is what Dell did along with our partner NVIDIA is we helped a startup named Sarvam AI. So they've developed like a multilingual text generation algorithm. And they have this is done on Indic languages, right? So you have Hindi, you have Bengali, Tamil, Telugu. So multilingual aspect as well is necessary.
That's great. Bhavesh?
Yeah. So I just want to sum it up by saying that, the reality of LLM in India is picking up, really, and then there is a great potential of implementing LLM in India, but at the same time, there are a lot of challenges as well. and in India going up to the digital transformation journey. But there are things like, the linguistic diversify, which is one of the key concerns of, implementing LLMs. So linguistic diversify, one, ethical considerations and skill set development are very crucial when it comes to implementing LLM in India. And to make sure that we gel well with this by fostering with the right stakeholders. The stakeholders could be government bodies. One of the example with Tarun already gave is on the the Bhashini as multilingual programs and all those things, with the institutions and with the government bodies, and also with the stakeholders from the partner firms who can help to build those multilingual programs or languages, can help us to go there. And by doing this, India can harness the power of LLMs and also make sure they drive innovations, and that can help to get a better outcomes to all the industries around it.
Yeah, thanks, Bhavesh.
So I just want to say this, that I think India will be the AI use case capital of the world. We have a lot of people who are not equipped with things that are there in the West. So something like filling up a form is very easy for a human to do there. But filling up a form to open a bank account in India is very hard for a majority of the population. It's a very easy task for LLMs today. Whereas in the West, they're looking for AGI. We think what we already have can be really applied here and accelerate the population a lot. So I think that innovation in India is coming in the use case layer because of the realities of our population, right? Like our school teachers, our hospitals, our nurses, everybody is understaffed and under-resourced. So LLMs can really help in that way.
Thanks.
Yeah, very quickly. So I see that in terms of linguistic diversity, to your question, there is a lot of good work being done in terms of by Indian companies in terms of fine-tuning the model to the for Indian languages. However, then, though I'm an optimist, I'll still say that, when we say LLMs, then all the large data on all the internet, that's mostly in English. So that is one challenge that we need to tackle. So other than doing all the good work, because most of the data, so it's not a catching up in LLM, it's a catching up in the internet age itself. Because when internet came, then most of the data is in. So that is where you see, I think, if you look at most of the models like LLMs that exist, so more than 85-90% data is in English where it is trained. And where we are doing the Indian languages as well, that is using the translated data. So from that Indian, even subcontinent perspective, or that cultural perspective as well, maybe we need to think about some new approaches as well.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody. I know we had the buzzer go twice, so that's a signal for us to not stand between you and lunch. So it's been an interesting, insightful discussion. So I hope the audience also had a lot of takeaways from this. So all of us are around here till the evening. So please feel free to walk up to us and discuss any more interesting points that you want to catch up with us on. So thank you. Thanks to the panelists. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.